weekend on NFL Primetime. No, as in uniform. The Packers, the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Steelers dig deep in the closets for these classics. Even the refs showed off their old unis. Bow ties and Hogan hats. Deion a new uniform. Primetime makes his Niner debut. The Dolphins are pumped up to host the Jets in a battle of the undefeated. Reggie White visits his old friends in Philly. Reunited, and it feels so good. It doesn't feel good to be 0-3. Elway and Haas trying to avoid it in Denver. Seem like old times? Bruce comes up big in Houston. You never get tired of the classic. All the chart-topping hits. We've got plenty of tricks up our sleeve. Next on NFL Primetime. Welcome to Week 3 of NFL Prime Time. I'm Chris Berman. Throwback Weekend. All the uniforms, do not adjust your television set. All the uniforms are from days gone by. Our uniforms are kind of up to date, as usual, we hope here. Tom Jackson, Robin Roberts. I got this patch on from the early Espen days. I don't think we're getting sick and tired of this thing, but it just won't come off. I need an awl to get it off of here. So we're ready to play some football. Let's get you caught up with the late games. First around the NFL, just the final at the Meadowlands. The Giants go to 3-0. Dave Meggett, another touchdown pass against the Skins. That's 3-3 games, and the Giants beat the Redskins 31-23. Good effort, though, by the Skins. Fourth quarter, the Niners are leading at the Rams. Some great unis here. 27-13. Steve Young has a pair of touchdown passes. The Raiders, they just continue to own the Broncos, even in Mile High. This is awful, Tom, with 7.5 to go. 48-16. Raiders rolling at Mile High. We'll keep you posted. And the Chargers look like they'll be 3-0 in the AFC West. They've gone up to Husky Stadium at the 2-minute warning. They lead the Seahawks 24-10. Well, a couple teams not really worried about going 3-0. They're worried about going, at least getting off the schneid. The New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Patriots lost a pair of heartbreakers to two good teams, the Bills and the Dolphins, in the first couple of weeks. Could they get off the mat against the Cincinnati Bengals? Now, last year, the Patriots beat the Bengals in a scintillating 7-2 game, and you had to wonder if Bill Parcells, though, as bad as that score looked, was looking to get back to that sort of score. That's his type of football, is it not? Here we go from Riverfront, the early Bengal helmets in the late 60s, and Pat the Patriot back on the New England helmets. First quarter, Louis Oliver steps in front of Ray Critton and intercepts Drew Bledsoe. Then look at Oliver. Louis, no need right there. Well, with the good luck help, Mike Jones hits David Klingler's arm. Ball pops in the air. Good reception, though, by Klingler, one of his better passes of the day. 2 plays later, Steve Broussard, the former Falcon, he can run. Look at him go. 38 yards up the sideline. Touchdown. But the Bengals being the Bengals, they missed the extra point, and it's 6-0 Cincinnati. Drew Bledsoe brings him back. And look at this, a rushing touchdown. Marion follows Kevin Turner, Tom 7-6.
Yeah, and you know that Bill Parcells loves this block by Kevin Turner right there to spring butts into the end zone.
All right, so David Julis has come on here. Bill Parcells looking at the defensive sheet. There's not a lot on it this year. Second quarter, Patriots up 13-6. Matt Barr, 2 of his 4 field goals. Klingler to Carl Slim Pickens, touchdown, and we are tied at 13. Then, just before the end of the half, Bledsoe. Look at this, to Ray Crittenden, who's made some circus catches. Couldn't hold on to this one, and Ray heard it from his coach, as often he would. But Patriot defense coming to life up front, Tom.
Yeah, Klingler had a tough day there. You saw Aaron Jones sack Klingler, cause a fumble here again. Now, Chris Slade and Tim Goes do the same thing. Patriots recover the ball.
So David Julis says, we got to get something going here. 1913 P-men in the third quarter. 2 more Barr field goals. Broussard, another touchdown. The Bengals lead at 20-19. But Drew Bledsoe, he can gun it. Look at Michael Timpson. Beautiful throw and a beautiful catch between defenders. 25-20 Patriots. Bledsoe, another 300-yard game. 4 if you go back to last season in a row. But Klingler to Pickens makes it a 31-28 game late. The Patriots by 3. The outside kick. Myron Guyton, the former Giant, one of the big trades and pickups for that man, Robert Kraft, celebrating his first win as new owner of the Patriots. And New England, well, they get the Bengals back in it, but a good win again. The Patriots scoring over 34 points, and they win it by the count of 31-28. Bledsoe, 3 games this year, Tom, has thrown for 1,166 yards, 8 touchdowns, twice. Today he was 30 or 50 twice. He's thrown over 50 passes. So the good news of the Patriots, they win it. Right. But Bill Parr says this isn't the blueprint, is it?
Yeah, Bill will certainly take the win, but I think that it's frustrating to Bill Parcells when you think about the kind of football that he'd like to play. Two elements missing: the strong running, consistent game that he's used to, where you get 4 or 5 yards of crack, and then the defense, that solid defense. And I'm sure that he's willing to trade some of those Bledsoe numbers for those other two areas.
Well, here's a guy that has some good numbers, Dan Marino. Could he continue throwing the good numbers in the game atop the AFC East? 2-0 Jets, 2-0 Dolphins in Miami. Who would come out on top? Marino throwing, well, he looked beautiful today. We'll be back. Throwback Weekend Prime Time continues. Hi, welcome back to NFL Primetime. Steve Young has just gone in from the 1-yard line to extend the 49ers lead. They lead that 34-13 at Anaheim with about 3 minutes to go. We'll keep you posted and get you highlights later on. Well, highlights have been all over. Barry Bananas Foster. Look at those Steelers jerseys from the early 30s. We'll show you the jerseys and the Steelers against the Colts. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. The 28 teams wearing jerseys from all throughout the 75-year history in the NFL. The oldest jerseys, the ones worn by Arizona today, from the 1920-1921 Chicago Cardinals, a team that Al Capone used to go and watch. He might have loved the guy that Buddy Ryan started a quarterback.
Oh, he would have loved McMahon. Yeah, he looked kind of odd, though. He had the old uniform, but that new age.
Right, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, indeed. In hopes of making something happen, Buddy Ryan sat down Steve Berline in favor of Jim McMahon. They had to do something. The Cards dead last in offense in the league. They made their first trip to Cleveland since '85, and in a series that dates back to 1950. Something to know on Throwback Weekend. The original Gladiator, Jim Brown. The Browns are not much better than the Cards on offense. Vinny Testaverde came in the worst-rated QB in the AFC, and in the first quarter, Testaverde's first pass attempt, very Testaverde-like, intercepted by Aeneas Williams. He has 6 INTs in the first 2 weeks. But the Cardinals, of course, have offensive woes as well. Steve Berline was benched, and here comes Jim McMahon. You see his record as a starter. He gets things done. McMahon was put to work on the rookie, Antonio Langham, but Langham, TJ, makes a great defensive play.
Yeah, pass intended for Randall Hill, and Langham has a habit of getting his hands on the ball, stretches out beautifully here, and tips the ball away just in time to prevent a reception.
Yeah, takes that reception away from Randall Hill. Very next play, McMahon picks on the rookie again, and Langham comes up with the INT this time, his second of the year. The ball is fumbled, but it's going the Browns' way. They recover. Ugly first half. Browns with a 3-0 lead. In the second half, 3rd and 25. Testaverde throws up a prayer. It's answered. Pass interference by Herschel Curry, TJ.
Yeah, Curry had good coverage on this play. The one mistake he makes is he doesn't get his head around to see that the ball is coming until it's a little bit too late, runs into the receiver, and draws a penalty.
31-yard penalty. A few plays later, Testaverde not going to put it up this time. The Browns' first rushing TD of the season. They're up 10-0. Oh, Buddy Z has allowed 6 touchdowns this season. 4 of them have occurred after pass interference penalties. Still in the third. Cards blitz. Testaverde dumps it off to Tommy Vardell, who lives up to his name. Touchdown, Tommy. Tommy, a 2-point conversion, making it 18-0 Browns. Fourth, it's 25-0 Browns. McMahon pulled for Jay Schrader, and he is picked off by Eric Turner. Gets a great block from James Jones. Does the rest on his own. 93 yards. He goes for the score. 32-0. The Browns with a shutout. In 6 seasons as a head coach, including 5 at Philadelphia, this is the first time that a Buddy Ryan team has been shut out, and the first time since '91 for the Cardinals. Jim McMahon was 19 of 38 for 169 yards with 2 INTs, and he took his share of the blame for the Cards' dismal showing. He talked with our Mark Malone after the game.
Both you and Buddy said, if you won today, you would expect to start again next week. Where does that all set now?
Well, I don't deserve to start after the way I played today. I don't know what it is. I'm not blaming anybody else. I had a chance to make some plays, so they didn't make them.
I don't know what the problem lies, you know what I mean? But, I think every individual on the damn team, really need to look at himself and decide whether or not he's going to come back and, I don't don't know what we got to do, what each person got to do, but definitely got to do more than what we're doing now. Because, it's just not enough for the job.
Ooh, Buddy Ball. Well, thank goodness they have next week off. The Colts hoping to win their first game ever at Three Rivers Stadium. Many watching these two. The Foster matchup, would it materialize? The fireworks started right away. Opening kickoff. Ronald Humphrey fields it up to 5. Cuts left and has gone 95 yards, 14 seconds into the game. The Colts after PAT are up 7-0. The big plays were just beginning. Second quarter, Steelers driving. Neil O'Donnell gets nailed by Tony Bennett. Quentin Coriat picks it up. He is gone. 78 yards for the touchdown. 14-0 Colts, just like that. But Ron Earhart's offense would get it going. Steelers down 14-7 in the second. Barry Foster gets it going. Going right for 8 yards. Foster again. To the right. Great blocking downfield. Goes 29 yards for the touchdown. Game is tied at 14. Some great blocking, TJ.
Yeah, when you see a great run, you know that you're getting great blocking. Right there, you see Yancey Thigpen seal off Ray Buchanan to spring Foster the rest of the way to the end zone on that 29-yard run. The story for Marshall Faulk would be a little bit different. Anytime you're playing great team defense, you're maintaining your run lane. As we watch Faulk try to get outside, inside, you see there are 4 or 5 Steelers at the point of attack all the time. People scrambling to get to the ball. An average day for Marshall, 15 carries, 61 yards.
Well, Ted Marchibroda said, let's go to the air then. Fourth quarter, 17-14 Steelers. Jim Harbaugh to Sean Dawkins for 13 yards. 6 plays later, Harbaugh finds Dawkins running the post pattern. A 20-yard score at 21-17 Colts. Bill Tobin's defense, will they hold the lead? Big play on 3rd and 3. O'Donnell swings it out to Byron Bam Morris. Great individual effort. Goes for 49 yards to the Colts 11. Steelers go to another new face. O'Donnell to John L. Williams. Lunges across the goal line for the score. Steelers up 24-21. A huge day for the Steelers offense. Steelers defense will protect that lead. Jim Harbaugh. Nailed by Kevin Green. The ball pops in the hands of Stephen Henry. A frustrating afternoon for Marshall Faulk and company. Pittsburgh wins it 31-21. The Steelers prevented Faulk from being the first NFL rookie to rush for 100 yards in his first 3 games, holding him to 61. Barry Foster looks like his old self, rushing for 179 yards, his first 100-yard game since the 7th game of last season, and shortly after that, of course, he had the ankle injury that put him out for the rest of the year.
We looked at all those unis, and there's some other good ones, but the Steelers, they look like Essendon at Fauntleroy, in Australian rules football with those jerseys.
Great daddy.
Lipscomb, I think, made a big play in that game.
I think so.
Well, some teams, there's certainly one team we're talking about here goes way back, the Chicago Bears. They're at home today against the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd straight divisional game to start the season for Minnesota, but for Dennis Green, that's great because in the NFC Central, since he's come in a couple of years ago, 14-4 and 4-0 lifetime as coach against the Bears. But Bears pulled out all the stops. They went back to their 1925 uniforms when George Halas was a young Papa Bear, and the galloping ghost, Red Grange, was just a rookie. Would that help against Dennis Green and the Vikes? Well, the Vikings start out quick. Terry Allen, hurt last year. They figure they have a running game this year on a cutback. And Warren Moon to Chris Carter. One of the rare times he doesn't catch a touchdown, but look at the play. Oh, but he fumbles it out of bounds. No problem. Allen, 12-yard touchdown. Whee! 7-0 Vikings, Tom.
Great job of blocking at the line of scrimmage, and then spot shadow here on Carter, Chris Carter, and look at him come in and get that seal block, creates a nice lane. You see the good vision by Terry Allen, and then the great effort right there over the top to get him to the end zone.
The Vikings, you know what they also bring, Tom, and that's defense. They brought it the first 2 games. Henry Thomas to him and Randall at the tackle. They're going to just have a boatload of sacks. Jack Del Rio on the blitz and more.
Yeah, you watch Robert Harris here as he spot shadows, and look at the miss this block. You get the double team down on the center, trying to get him with Merle Hodge. He throws him inside and goes and gets the sack.
Now Kramer, the uni's not working. Call upstairs to the Papa Bear probably. The Vikings had a big rushing day to Terry Allen. Look at this play. 44 yards on play OA0076-4CFF09 onto running back. And then Allen, another run. Cuts back, Tom, and he can cut back and forth.
Yeah, and anytime you see a runner cutting back like this, he has the great vision. He can see right back across the football field to the far safety.
Terry Allen ran for 159 yards and a pair of touches today. Things get worse. 13-0 Vikings. Bears trying to make something of that. Curtis Conway. Dave Garnett falls out of like a precious stone. Dave Wannstedt not happy because Moon, Jake Reed, touchdown, 18 yards first of his career. Reed had a big game, caught 7 for 90. Carter caught 8 today from Warren Moon. Meanwhile, later in the third, Kramer dropping back, and Dwayne Washington, the number 1 pick. Look at him go. He can go all the way. 81 yards. The Vikings shake, rattle, and roll the Chicago Bears 42-14, sending them back in another century. First 3 quarters of the Monday night game and the game today, the Bears were down 58-0 combined. It's hard to come back after that. You see all the numbers. Moon threw for 236 yards, 464 yards of offense, Tommy. That was what we didn't know for the Minnesota Vikings. How quickly, first couple weeks, they struggled. Warren Moon looked like he wasn't at home. He certainly looked at home today.
Yeah, I think he's getting into a comfort zone now, and that's due to the running of Terry Allen, a little bit of Robert Smith, and then an outstanding defense. He knows that the pressure is not on him to have to create offense via the pass every time. You run the ball the way Terry Allen did. When you play action fake, it works.
Well, Arizona in a quandary. I mean, it looks like they've emphasized defense at the expense of the offense. At least that's what it looks like so far. An 0-3 start, and only 3 teams in the history of the NFL have come back to make the playoffs. The 81 Jets, 82 Buccaneers, and the Chargers of 2 years ago of Bobby Ross. But Vinny, you figured he would struggle against Buddy Ryan. Not the case today.
Buddy Ryan, slightly predictable when you talk about those blitz packages. We knew that Vinny Testaverde was going to see every conceivable blitz package that Buddy could come up with. He had the shaky start with the INT on his first pass. He settled down. He showed some mobility. Didn't scramble down the football field, but he was able to maneuver out of the pocket, make some good throws through 3 TDs today.
We saw that Dwayne Washington interception a moment ago for Minnesota. I mean, that's nothing new for Dennis Green. When his team plays the Chicago Bears, we go inside the numbers. He's now 5-0 against the Bears, and his Vikings have returned 5 interceptions for touchdowns. That's unbelievable. They've made 9 picks overall. Well, that's some great defense, and doesn't Chicago wants that, and even did give before, remember it. When we return, Randall Cunningham against Reggie White. Eagles, Packers at the Vet. We'll be back. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. We'd like to welcome those of you that have watched the 49ers beat the Rams at Anaheim 34-19. A late touchdown run by Jerome Bettis. Not enough, we'll show you highlights. And the Chargers have gone 3-0. They go up to Seattle at Husky Stadium and beat the Seahawks 24-10. A pair of big plays, which we will show you shortly. Well, speaking of big plays, the Packers and the Eagles were each looking forward to 2 pretty good teams at 1-1 coming into this game, and 2 great old unis, the 37 Packers and the 48 Eagles. And throwback for another reason at the Vet, Reggie White, the former Eagle, back in Philly for the first time. City of Brotherly Love, did they welcome Reggie White? Well, look at Reggie in the 37 Packer uniforms. Made his presence felt, blows past the youngster Lester Holmes, pressures Randall Cunningham, his ex-mate, and look at some of the moves by Reggie, Tom.
Yeah, look at him as he comes around the corner here. He tries to get cut low by Lester Holmes, but look at the agility by a man, 300-plus pounds, forces the incompletion by Cunningham.
Well, they love you, but just not today, and I think Reggie could appreciate that sign. Mike Holmgren loves Brett Favre when he's on. He loves Sterling Sharp, but Sterling had 3 drops today, uncharacteristic. So they do something else. They go to Edgar Bennett. In the first quarter, the Packers' offense looked pretty good. Swing pass to Bennett for 9 yards. Then Favre to Bennett, like Arnie Herber in those uniforms for a first down. Then Favre looks, not for Don Hudson, but for Reggie Cobb. The former Buccaneer, he's wide open. Can Eric Allen make the saving tackle? No, he cannot. 7-0 on the 37-yard play, 7-3 Pack at the half. But the fortune changes in the third quarter. Second possession, William the Fuller rush man strips Cobb of the ball. Mike Zordic recovers. He was in business at 27. Randall goes to work. James Joseph helps him out with a juggling catch, brings it down to the 10. Then Barnett. Eagles won a championship in these 48 uniforms. Not Steve Van Buren, but it's Fred Barnett down to the 1. From the 1, Randall goes over center Dave Alexander. It's a touchdown, 10-7 Eagles, their first rushing touchdown of the season. Meanwhile, the Pack offense struggling. Favre's pass, the youngster, the rookie, LaShawn Johnson drops it, Tom. And then this one battered in his face. Favre actually does a good job to knock it down. And then Johnson with the drop. So Favre not getting helped out, but also he didn't help himself at times. Minus 16 yards for the Pack offense third quarter. 13-7 fourth quarter. Eagles at their own 5. Randall most dangerous in the shadow of his own goalpost. He avoids the rush, takes off, big play, moves him out of trouble up to the 20-yard line. 2:15 to go. Randall crushed right there by Don Davey. It's a fumble. Sean Jones falls on it. And the Packers move it down to the 6, but second down, Mark McMillan with D. Third down, Favre to Jeff Wilner. Forget it. Fourth down and 4, and look at the play. Favre, a swing pass to Edgar Bennett. Otis, my man Smith, is there to stop him, stop the Packers. Kind of some bizarre ending for the Packers, usually so cerebral on offense, but the last couple of games they have not been. And the Eagles go to 2-1. The Pack fall to 1-2, 13-7. Philadelphia wins it. The Eagles had 6 sacks, gives them 12 overall in the season. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble today against Brett Favre, Tommy, who every time I watch him, you just shake your head. Sometimes he's good. He's the little girl with the curl, but today his hair was down.
You do end up doing this a lot when you're thinking about Brett Favre. And I won't talk about the whole football game. Let's talk about that last play. 4th down and 4 from your own 6-yard line. I believe that Mike Holmgren believes you don't have to relate every single situation to the quarterback. It's one where you either are going to get into the end zone or you're going to lose the football game. They throw a 4-yard out, or actually a 2-yard out, that's going to be tackled immediately. The maturation of Brett Favre is very slow.
Well, it looked like week 1 he was coming, but now we're back to that funk
Square one.
we saw at the time, and I'm sure Mike Holmgren is going home scratching his head. They're home next week, are the Pack. Randall Cunningham, he's Mr. September. The last 3 seasons, Randall's record, starting with the Eagles, is 8-1. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes. He's running for 2 more. I mean, combined for 20 touchdowns and 8 out of 9. I think any club will take that. And the Eagles hope that this year, a pretty good start, results in a healthy Randall and maybe the playoff berth. Ordinary. Wait till you see the Miami Dolphins. We'll show you the Dolphins and the Jets when we return. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Well, defending Biggie. There we are. Hello. 2 games today between a pair of 2-0 teams, one of them in Miami, between the Dolphins and the Jets. The Jets had beaten the Dolphins 5 of the last 6 times, but Don Shula trying to teach a lesson to the young rookie head coach of the Jets, Pete Carroll, who, by the way, was only 12 when Shula began his NFL head coaching career in 1963 with a quarterback that wore black high tops playing for the Baltimore Colts. Joe Namath, captain of the Jets. They were the 68 unis. Manny Fernandez, Bob Kuchenberg, and others from the undefeated 72 Dolphins. Some classic unis that we all remember. Don Shula says, let's early on go for it on 4th and 1. Terry Kirby, did he make it? Remember, the young Spikes is out. They run Kirby, the second-year man from Virginia. The short run, though, they give him the first down. Opening drive, 9 minutes long, but Mo Lewis makes the pick for the Jets in the end zone to kill the drive for Pete Carroll. But the Dolphins come back in the second quarter. Marino to Keith Byers. Look at this play over Aaron Glenn. Terry Kirby goes in a couple plays later to make it 7-0 at Miami. But Ronnie Lott looking good today.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott, the consummate Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Look at him try to strip the ball there from Terry Kirby. Falls off, but look at him stay after it, get down low and bring him down at the bottom of the pile. And then you see him lined up over the tight end, makes a great tight scrape down inside, gets his head right in there. Not bad for a guy probably in his 50s.
Yeah. Well, Lott playing D. So was Miami. Adrian Morrell wearing the old number. Bake Turner, number 29. That Sean Hill comes up fired up. Same drive. Esiason back to pass. Off the hands of Berlin Biggs, number 86. Johnny Mitchell. It's incomplete. And Aubrey Beavers, a beautiful interception for the Dolphins. 2-minute drill. Marino, all day to throw. Finds his tight end, Keith Jackson, makes a good catch for 14 yards. 5 plays later, square out. Look at the pass, look at the catch, look at the run by Keith Byers. 14-0 Miami. Beautiful, Tom.
Chris, everything about it pretty. The release, look where the ball is delivered, outside and low on the hip. Kyle Clifton, pretty good coverage, not good enough for Marino.
Well, Esiason then goes back to pass. He's picked off by Darryl Muggsy Malone. Boomer with 4 interceptions, and Jets fans calling for Al Woodall off the bench. Third quarter, Jets show some life. The reverse, Boomer sidesteps a would-be tackler, Richie Anderson. The fullback makes the catch, It's 14-7 on the 27-yard play, but give Miami credit. The Jets within 7. Marino right down the field to Keith Jackson. Oh, nutty! You can't tackle me. I can lateral at the Irving Fire. It's a touchdown. 21-7. Let me tell you, Miami using their head.
They say there's no substitute for speed. There's no substitute for strength. As we watch Keith Jackson run over about 6 Jets right here, didn't have the presence of mind to lateral the ball to Pryor for the touchdown.
Miami defense comes up with an interception by J.B. Brown. Marino in business. The Byers force that quick release, Tom. Then Keith, tell you what, Jackson, you've done your job today, no question about it. There's Keith Byers gone, Keith Jackson. They can all sit down. Bernie Parmalee, some goodies into the end zone from 5 yards out. His first career touchdown. The Dolphins go on to impressively smother the Jets and go to 3-0. Miami wins it 28-14. The Jets only rushed for 59 yards, so much again for that soft Miami defense. 444 yards in offense for Miami, including 155 rushing. Kirby had 100 of them. The Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl may be their nightmare, but for the Oilers, the Bills are their nightmare. The old Buffalo back on the helmets of the 64 Bills. Thurman Thomas running like a young Buffalo. Gains 5 yards on the draw. Then off right tackle for 4 yards. And then Thermal had a tough first game, but has come back with big games in weeks 2 and 3 up the gut for 9 yards. Marvcus Levy, head coach of the Bills, happy with Thomas. 28 carries, under 12 yards, caught a couple of more balls for 19. But Bruce Smith, well, watch him sack Bucky Richardson, making his second start. There's 1 sack. Bottom of the screen, a strong rush. He's just around. Bruce Matthews, the Pro Bowl center, moved outside to try and help Tom.
We saw the whole package from Bruce Smith today on Matthews, who was a little bit stale out at that left tackle position. Here he uses his speed, a nice underarm move to get by for the sack on Bucky Richardson. And then the worst possible situation for Houston, a blocking combination that doesn't include blocking Bruce Smith.
4 sacks, 8 tackles for Smith today. The Bills had 5 sacks overall. For Jim Kelly, never got it in the end zone, but he and Andre Reed, they've ruined the Oilers over the years. Look at Reed beat Bo Orlando and Dawn on the play for a great one-handed catch. Kelly to Thurman Thomas on the screen. There's the much-maligned Bills offensive line. They're setting up out there. Hull, Lucina, and Parker. This would set up one of 5 field goals by Steve Christie. Leighton was striking again and again and again. 3 of his field goals over 40 yards. Kevin Gilbride, Cody Carlson, Bucky Richardson. Where's the offense? They look to Webster Slaughter, 7 minutes to go. Richardson to Slaughter for 57 yards, beating Burris and Darby. But first and goal with the score, 15-0 Bills. Richardson rushed hard by Henry Jones, incomplete. Then the number 1 draft pick, Notre Dame, Jeff Burris. Good play, knocks the pass away in the end zone. 3rd and goal, into the end zone. Matt Darby, the dinosaur, picks it up. The Bills eventually give up a touchdown, but their mark in September, the last, 4 or 5 years, 22-4. And the Bills beat the Oilers 15-7. And afterward, the Oilers defense didn't give up a touchdown. Bubba McDowell and company frustrated.
It doesn't make no sense, man, because we got to get help, man. We got to get help from the offense. We got to get production. That's just what it all comes down to. If they can't give us our help out there on the damn field, what use us being out there?
Not a good sign. Thus, remember the Oilers started out 1-4 last year. They got battered by Buffalo to go 1-4. Then they won their last 11 games to get in the playoffs. See if they can turn that around. By the way, congratulations, Andre Reed, only the 13th man in NFL history to catch 600 balls. He's also the all-time leading receiver in the Super Bowl, so people don't know that, Tommy. Well, Jets figured they had Miami figured out. Their game plan, right, but didn't work.
We talked about the Jets' game plan defensively to make Marino take his time getting down the football field. First drive, 10 plays, 70 yards, 5+ minutes. Second play, 10 plays, 69 yards in under 2 minutes. So the message there, Dan Marino can do it any way you ask him to do it.
And let me tell you something else. The Jets and Green Bay, the last 2 weeks, pretty good teams, we think. Miami's made them look sluggish. I don't only mean they've outplayed. 1's an accident, 2's a trend. One other note.
Outstanding running game.
One other note. Who of us thought, I did, they're wearing their 72 uniforms. The Dolphins are still undefeated in the uniforms of 1972. Well, Tommy, you talk about rushing. The Dolphins' running game, last 5 games, all losses in 93, combined 303 yards. Against the Packers and the Jets, a combined 301. If you can run, and you have Dan Marino, and you have a defense that's playing much better than advertised, that's why you're 3-0. Deion Sanders. Prime time as a Niner on Prime Time when we continue. Stay with us, please. Welcome back to Throwback Weekend on NFL Primetime. There were 3 games, Robin, that were matchups of teams wearing championship jerseys.
Right.
One of them, 37 Skins against 56 Giants. Some great names, some classic unions.
And it was a throwback game, to say the least. Good old-fashioned NFC East rivalry, Boomer. Like you said this morning, the Washington had to be a little concerned about Mr. Everything, Dave Meggett. You got to be careful, especially when you're Washington. And the Giants, keep in mind, have swept Washington 4 of the last 6 seasons, including, of course, last year. And even Dan Reeves getting in on the act for Throwback Weekend. Oh, yeah, an old Giants cap. Starting running back, Rodney Hampton, going to be out a little bit longer with a bruised kidney. Washington first play from scrimmage. John Freeze from
Idaho.
Thank you very much. Reggie Brooks, popped by Michael Brooks. Corey Miller intercepts. He's taken it down by the goal line. Meggett will take it in from there. In the second, 10-3 Giants. Reggie Brooks was okay. John Freeze, good protection. Hits Henry Ellard in the corner of the end zone. Tying the game at 10-all. Oh, they were doing some old-fashioned hitting in this game. Even the kicker, Chip Lowmiller. A late hit to Arthur Marshall. 13-10 Washington. Dave Brown fakes a reverse. Avoids Sterling Palmer and hits Mike Sherrard for the touchdown. What happened, TJ?
Yeah, Sherrard, a great mechanical receiver. Here he comes inside and then starts running. He sees the double team by the safety and runs away from the safety right to the corner of the end zone. Great throw by Dave Brown.
Works every time. Still in the second, John Freeze back to work. Hits Ellard again. A 22-yard gain on the left side. The connection works again. Ellard on the right side this time, becoming the 10th player in NFL history to have more than 10,000 yards receiving. Halftime, Washington leading 20-17. Dave Meggett would be the star in the second half. Norv Turner had to be concerned. In the third, Brown hands off to Meggett. Option pass, you know what he's going to do, to Aaron Pierce. 3 touchdown tosses for Dave Meggett, all against Washington. 24-20 Giants.
You see Aaron Pierce there, spot shadow. He acts like he's throwing a block. Linebacker makes the commitment. It's an easy throw.
More big hits. Reggie Brooks spots a hole. He's leveled by ex-Eagle John Booty. In the fourth, 24-23 Giants, Dave Brown off to Meggett. He fumbles, but recovers at the goal line. Next play, Meggett gets the call again. He hangs on to it this time. 31-23, G-Men in the lead. Still time for Norv Turner's team. 4th and 5. Freeze completes to Henry Ellard down to the 25. 6 seconds left. Last play of the game. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. Freeze looking for Desmond Howard, but he is picked off by John Booty in the end zone. And oh boy, the Giants hold on. 31-23. The loss overshadowed another fine outing by John Freeze, who was 32 of 50 for a career-high 381 yards with 2 touchdowns, but 2 INTs, and a career day for Dave Meggett. The Saints at the Big Sombrero. The Bucs hoping for back-to-back wins for the first time since the 92 season. You know what, guys? You needed a sombrero in this weather. 100 degrees, hot for the player. Oh, yeah. You know, I think that Sam Weiss would look great in a sombrero. Second quarter, Craig Erickson and company trailing 6-0 after 2 Morton Anderson field goals. Nice fake. Finds Jackie Harris. A 10-yard score. Little icing on the cake. A 15-yard play. The drive goes for 15 plays, 80 yards in almost 11 minutes. Jim Everett, his turn to speak for the Saints. Late in the second, trailing 7-6, Everett to Wesley Walls, the big tight end. Looks even bigger in that uniform. Sets up Morton Anderson's 43-yard field goal, his 3rd kick of the day, 9-7 Saints. Even the officials getting in on Throwback Weekend. Jim Everett left the game with a groin injury, replaced by Wade Wilson, who only threw for 68 yards, but the Saints D picked up the slack, led by linebacker Darian Connor, who gave Craig Erickson some problems, TJ.
Yeah, Darian Connor, another one of those outside linebackers with the great speed, so he's always turning that corner. He had 3 sacks on the day, Robin.
Bucs were frustrated. Michael Husted on for a 53-yard field goal attempt. Winds up punting it instead. Yeah, another Sam Weiss stunt. Late in the fourth, Weiss trying to fire up the troops. 4th down and 27. 4th and 27. Bucs down 9-7. Under 2 minutes left. Erickson looks and finds Willie Green. A big first down. Then controversy, TJ.
Yeah, Erickson here trying to throw the ball. Tyrone Leggett gets the interference call, and you can see unless he had his hand on the receiver's back, that probably was a bad call.
Yeah, but despite some poor time management, the Bucs still had a chance. 54-yard field goal attempt by Husted. Not even close. The Saints will take it. 9-7. Saints avoid the 0-3 start, which would have been their worst start in 14 years. Like the old days, they came up big on D, holding the Bucs to 232 yards. Both are now 1-2, but both are not ready to throw in the hat just
Well,
yet.
I tell you, the Buccaneers pulled out all the stops today. I mean, they had everybody trying to wear big sombreros. The Bucs,
Little sombrero.
Bucs sent us that hat. Some Buccaneers season ticket holders sent us this hat. I know I feel like either Pancho Villa or Bob Villa or one of the two of them or Baba Louie, but the Bucs fell out of first place. Well, meanwhile, moving right along, we had to wear this thing. Haberdashery is our thing, you know. Hats off, pardon the pun, to the 49ers for signing Deion Sanders this past week when people said they couldn't do. Deion can do everything. He can wear hats like this, but can he play offensive line? That might be what the Niners will need him to do one day. Didn't start, but he looked marvelous. George Seifert using him sparingly. Today we've got 14 games with him against the Rams. Both uniforms in the classic 50s. Steve Young, John Taylor, 5-yard touchdown, 7-0 49ers. But the Rams come back. Chris Miller, they call him Flipper, in the end zone, but interference on Eric Davis, so 2 plays later. Chris Miller, to Crazy Legs hurts. No, it's Troy Drayton, 4-yard touchdown. We're tied at 7. All the Rams wearing the jerseys from 55. 49ers next to 51. 49ers next possession. Young to Taylor, 35 yards. Beautiful catch and throw. Same drive. Young to Taylor. Looking to make the move at the 7. Pick up a block from Brent Jones at the touchdown, but interference, Tom.
Yeah, as we watch here, you're going to see the spot shadow right there on Ricky Waters. You've got a 5-yard area to hit him, and you can see he's well beyond that at the point of this pass.
So he hit Roman Pfeiffer, and they call pass interference. Deion watches. The Niners set up for field goal 10-7. Then Eric Davis makes great coverage here to break up a pass to Jesse Hester. Tom Davis, number 25.
Yeah, you watch him here try to turn the corner, and look at the great play. Getting underneath, and sticking your head in there. That's a great play by the corner.
Well, Deion might replace Eric Davis at corner, or they might move Merton Hanks to free safety instead of Dana Hall. So Davis playing well today. Jerry Rice down to the 1-yard line. 4 seconds to go. Young takes it in for the 1 of the Niners. A well-fought first half. They lead it 17-10 at the intermission. Second half, Chuck Knox trying to rally his troops. Mid-third quarter, Marquez Pope just warbles Ricky Waters. 20-10 Niners after 3. But the fourth quarter, Steve Young taking over. This is what he can do. He rolls right, gets the blocking, makes the pump fake, goes down to the 3-yard line. Pope takes him out with a leg kick. Young gets up. He's tough. And he finds Jerry Rice. Oh, by the way, another touchdown for Jerry Rice. Number 128. 27-10 49ers. The machine of George Seifert rolling. 27-13 fourth quarter. Young rushes in for another touchdown. Steve Young on the day as the Niners win at 34-19, 31 of 39 for 355. Deion's mates, well, Jerry Rice, Deion, they're going to be seeing lots of each other every day in practice. And the 49ers up their mark to 34-19. Pretty good job shutting down a very fine offensive Rams team of Waterfield and Van Brocklin and Tank Younger and Crazy Legs Hirsch and Tom Fears. But the Niners win at 34-19 as Hugh McElhaney had a big day for San Francisco. Well, the Raiders always have a big day against the Broncos. Could Jeff Hostetler continue the recent and not-so-recent tradition? One of these teams would end the day 0-3. Bronx, Raiders fighting to stay alive. Well, no matter where they play, even in Barcelona this summer, the Raiders own the Denver Broncos. Back in a span from 63 to 71, they didn't lose in about a 17-game run. They've won 9 out of their last 10, all 3 last year, including the wild card game in the playoffs. Today, a must-win situation because the loser would fall to 0-3.
There's a belief here that we'll always find a way to beat the Denver Broncos no matter what happens. We like nothing better than to knock crap from them, honestly.
Well, could Fletcher, and look at those old bucking Broncos on the helmet, Tom. You remember them. 7-0 Raiders in the first quarter. Jeff Hostetler scrambles right, and he hits Tyrone Montgomery. I said Tyrone Montgomery. He's gone. He's gone off to the posse. 65 yards. It's 14-0. The Raiders.
Yeah, Hostetler here, you see him presenting a problem as he scrambles out of the pocket to the right. We freeze right there. People starting to wonder whether he's going to come forward, whether he's going to throw the ball. Tyrone Montgomery gets behind that midline defense. Easy route to the end zone.
Charlie Waters, his Bronco defense, in big-time trouble. Haas, time. Warren Wells, number 8. No, it's Tim Brown on the crossing route. Randy Hilliard can't stop him. And then gets a big-time block from Darrell Hobbs at the goal line, 43 yards. 21-0 Raiders. Wade Phillips down 28-3 at the half. This is at Mile High Stadium. Tyrone Montgomery, it's a fumble. Ray Crockett picks it up, then gets up and goes down the sideline. He can't go all the whoa, he can't do it. He's finally out of bounds, but the Broncos maybe have a big turnover. 3 plays later, the former Patriot, Leonard Russell. He's in. 28-9. Russell fired up. Art Shell, usual stoic face. After the Broncos get the ball back, momentum shifting. John Elway, Russell out of the backfield. It's Albert Lewis strips him of the ball. Terry McDaniel falls on it and picks it up for the opportunistic Raiders. So, Haas back to work. It's the former Chief Harvey Williams. Makes the move at the 5. Long necks it into the end zone. 35-9 Raiders. Haas, 4 games as a Raider against the Broncos. 12 TDs, no picks. 1,206 yards. John Elway, Jim Fossil trying to figure out a comeback. But Elway picked off by Terry McDaniel, the Pro Bowl corner. He's gone. Elway has been picked for touches all 3 games. And in this one, it was a laugher. 48-16. The Raiders over the Denver Broncos as Hostetler continues his mastery, and Art Shell now 10-1. The worst home loss for the Broncos since they wore uniforms close to that, and Steve Tenzie played quarterback, I think, in 1968. Chargers and the Seahawks, what was supposed to be the bottom of the division, is now the top. 2-0 at both teams at beautiful Husky Stadium. Kingdom roof not ready for an outdoor home game ever for the Seahawks. Stan Humphries, last 4 games is 10 touchdown passes, no picks. Humphries a little rusty early. Good Seattle defense as well. Overthrows 1 receiver. Misfires to Mark Shea. And Humphries has time, but just didn't have it.
Yeah, he had plenty of time, but you could see his ball was sailing a little bit. Maybe he would have done better if they'd have been playing inside.
Well, he eventually adjusted for Bobby Ross. Chris Warren from
Ferrum.
There you go. He broke a bone, but he was returned. Broken bone of the elbow. John Vaughn. Now the Seahawks, big situation at 1st and goal at the 1. Vaughn poked in the eye on 3rd down. Here's the 3rd down play. Meyer overthrows Kelvin Martin. And then another overthrow. They ended up getting a field goal, and they were at the 1. So Rick Meyer also struggling against the San Diego defense. 10-3 in the second quarter. Natron refried Means off right tackle into the end zone, 10-3. The Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, big push here by the right side of the offensive line. Look at him maintain that low center of gravity, and all he does is get in behind him and get into the end zone.
Those jerseys look great. The 61 Chargers. Meyer back to pass. I shot the sheriff, Stanley Richard, but they could not catch the deputy. Richard had that 99-yard pick in week 1 against Denver. This 73 yards, 17-3, and the layup good. Chargers lead it 17-3, Tom.
You talk about defenders getting their head back to the football. Here Stanley Richards makes an outstanding look at the ball and then a great catch with his hands. Had some fun going to the end zone.
Well, remember Richard? There it was in week 1. This was the 99-yard interception return against John Elway. So, I mean, he knows his way to the end zone. 2 touchdowns in the 3 games. Meanwhile, back to today at Husky Stadium, Humphries out of his own end zone and give them the nod. They're throwing on 1st down from his own end zone. It's Tony Martin, the former Dolphin. You got to be kidding. Could go off the what? Patrick Hunter pulls up lane. 99 yards. You know that's a record. Can't throw it longer than that except if you're in the CFL. 24-3, the Chargers. 7th career 99-yard touchdown pass in NFL history. The last was Jaworski, ESPN's Ron Jaworski, to Mike Quick. Plunkett to Branch, Jurgensen to Jerry Allen, Carl Sweetan to Pat Studstill, George Azo to Bobby Mitchell, Frankie Filchock to Andy Farkas in 39. There's your honor roll. Chargers 24, Seahawks 10, and the Chargers are undefeated and atop the AFC West pending Kansas City's Sunday night game. And give both San Diego and Seattle credit for showing new life, and again, give San Diego credit. What they have not done is make mistakes in all 3 games, and obviously, Seahawks hadn't until today. The Chargers made big plays. As for the Broncos, Raiders, Tom.
Well, I think the Broncos' problems are being complicated by a few things. We talked about their problems in pass coverage this morning on game day. That's complicated even further when you have a quarterback like Jeff Hostetler who can buy extra time for wide receivers. And then offensively, with a do-everything offense and a lot of personnel, they're falling behind. Pressure is being put on John Elway, and it's resulting in mistakes.
And now they go to Buffalo on a Monday night next week, and they could end up the month 0-4. Not what anybody had in mind, certainly in Denver, and especially losing like that. Mile High Stadium Raiders, maybe they feel they get off the shot. I know it was painful for you, Tommy, but think of how Wade and the boys feel tonight. Well, 300-yard passers. Trying to get him out of the pivot there for Heath Schuler for Washington, John. But John Freeze from Idaho had a big game, 381 yards, although in a losing effort. Drew Bledsoe in a winning effort threw 50 passes as well. Steve Young, 31 of 39 for 355. The Hawks, 4 touchdown passes, 300-yard day as the Raiders win at Mile High. When we return game balls, well, you'll never guess who I'm going to give one to. There he is, number 78 of the Bills. We've got all our game balls coming next when we return. Guitars revving up for game ball time. Number 78, Buffalo Bills. He's gotten honors maybe a little bit better than this one, but I know we'll take it. 4 sacks for Bruce Smith against Bucky Richardson of the Oilers today. Bruce Smith, they still have the big-time players, the Bills. You want to count them out, but they got guys that understand big plays, turn into touchdowns, or at least in this case, field goals. Here's Smith around the fellow Pro Bowler, Bruce Matthews. There was no contest with Matthews on the outside. My game ball to Bruce Smith with 4 sacks, the forced fumble, and 8 tackles. Rob?
Very surprising you would give one to that young man. How about the Saints' Darian Connor? Big afternoon against the Bucs. Gave Craig Erickson fits all day. Got to him 3 times, 3 sacks, all in the second half. Erickson could only manage 176 yards passing on the day. Connor also came up with 5 tackles, even forced a fumble for good measure. Boy, the Saints really needed that victory. What do you got, TJ?
Well, my game ball is going to go to that little maggot with the New York Giants, and he did a little bit of everything today. Here we see him on the halfback option pass, takes it, he sells the run for just about 3 or 4 steps, and then throws the nice touchdown to Aaron Pierce. But down on the goal line, you can see why Dan Reeves loves him. He stopped right at point of attack, and then he drives his way with second effort into the end zone. Thrown 3 touchdowns, all against the Skins, rushed for 82 yards and 2 TDs. We'll be back.
Inside the numbers, 100-yard rusher on a roll, week 3 throwback weekend. Barry Bananas Foster looks sharp in those early 30s Steelers jerseys. Terry Allen of the Vikes.